Hey everyone, and welcome to today's explainer. So, you're sitting in your business class, you're building out your very first mock portfolio, and you keep hearing about these massive, heavyweight companies. But how is that size actually measured? Today, our mission is to decode exactly what makes a company truly big in the stock market. We're going to break down one of the absolute most fundamental concepts in finance: market capitalization. To kick things off, I want to hit you with a question that honestly trips up almost every single beginner. Is a company with a $300 stock bigger than a company with a $30 stock? If you open up your investing app and see a share trading for hundreds of bucks, it just feels natural to assume that business is a total giant compared to the one trading for 30. But let me tell you, in the investing world, that assumption is a massive trap. All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the share price illusion. Judging a company's size by a single share price is literally like looking at one slice of pizza without knowing the size of the whole pie. Think about it. A giant slice from a tiny personal pizza is still way less food than a small slice from a massive extra-large party pie, right? In finance, the share price is just one slice. To figure out the true size of the company, we absolutely have to know how many slices exist in total. Enter market capitalization, or market cap for short. This is the total market value of a company's outstanding common shares. You can basically think of this as the price tag for the entire company. It tells us exactly what equity investors all over the globe are willing to pay for the whole business, right, at this very second. It answers that ultimate question: what is the stock market valuing the company's equity at today? So how do we calculate it? Let's move on to Section 2, the simple math. Here is the essential formula you're going to need for your portfolio. Market cap simply equals the current share price multiplied by the total common shares outstanding. And, this brilliantly illustrates just how dynamic this metric really is. Since the share price is jumping around every single second the market is open, the market cap is constantly rising and falling right along with it. It's a live, breathing snapshot, not some permanent, fixed number. Let's bring that math to life to make it super clear. Imagine a company whose stock is currently trading at a cool $100 a share. Now, let's say that company has 5 billion shares outstanding out there in the market. $100 times 5 billion shares gives us a massive market cap of $500 billion. That $500 billion number, that's what the market actually believes the company's equity is worth. Not just the $100 share price alone, but the combination of that price and the total number of shares. Let's look at a real-world showdown in Section 3, Apple versus Ford. Now, what's really interesting here is proving this out in the real world. Take Apple, for example. Historically, they carry one of the largest market caps on the entire planet. Why? Well, investors assign an enormous amount of value to their brand and their cash flow. But its massive overall size comes from combining a strong share price with a truly huge share count. Now, contrast that with Ford. Ford typically trades at a much lower share price, but as we just learned, you can't just stop there. Ford's total implied equity value, its market cap, is far below Apple's because when you multiply its price by its standard share count, the total overall value assigned by the market is just much, much lower. This comparison perfectly highlights two very common mistakes that honestly, even seasoned investors sometimes make. First up, share price does not equal company size. Remember that hook from earlier? A stock trading at $300 can absolutely be smaller than a stock trading at $30 if that second company happens to have millions more shares floating around. Second mistake, market cap does not equal valuation attractiveness. Look, just because a company has a small market cap, that doesn't automatically mean the stock is a cheap or undervalued buy. And flip that around. A huge market cap doesn't automatically mean the stock is too expensive. Market cap simply tells you the size of the deal, not the quality of the deal. All right, moving right along to Section 4, categorizing company sizes. Wall Street actually uses this exact math to sort companies into different weight classes, kind of like boxers stepping onto a scale before a fight. There are three main size categories you're going to hear about in any business class. First, you've got your large cap companies. These are your mature, highly stable businesses with great liquidity, which basically just means it's super easy to buy and sell their stock. Next up are mid-cap companies. These guys are established for sure, but they still have a really meaningful runway to grow. And finally, small caps. These are smaller, often much younger businesses. They offer a ton of upside potential, but they also carry way higher volatility and risk. So the crucial point here is that these categories aren't just random, meaningless labels. They help investors instantly set baseline expectations around the risk, the growth potential, and the maturity of the business they're buying into. Now for the advanced stuff. Section 5, the limits of market cap. Look, if you want to invest like a pro, you really have to know where your basic tools stop working. The absolute biggest blind spot of market cap is that it reflects equity value only. It completely, 100% ignores a company's debt, and it ignores the cash they have sitting in the bank. I mean, two companies could both have a $10 billion market cap, but one might be drowning in massive debt, while the other is sitting on a fortress balance sheet with $1 billion in pure cash. And that is exactly why finance professionals use a metric called enterprise value. Enterprise value takes the market cap, adds the company's debt, and subtracts their cash to give you the full, true theoretical price tag of the entire business structure. And there are a few other critical limitations you definitely need to memorize. First off, market cap is driven heavily by market sentiment. In super fearful or overly greedy markets, the price can detach completely from a company's actual fundamentals. Second, it can be totally distorted. If a company does massive share buybacks, they're reducing their outstanding shares, which changes the market cap math entirely. Third, and I'd say this is probably the most important one, market cap does not measure profitability. A company can have a giant market cap just because investors are hyped about future growth, even if the business is currently bleeding cash and generating terrible returns. Finally, comparing market caps across completely different industries can be super misleading, just because some sectors naturally support much larger scales than others. So, if you take away just one single sentence from this entire explainer, please make it this quote from our source material. Market cap is best used as a starting point rather than a conclusion. It is descriptive, not decisive. It tells you the size of the canvas you're looking at, but it doesn't tell you if the painting itself is a masterpiece or a total mess. You always have to pair market cap with a much deeper analysis of profitability, valuation, and balance sheet strength. Which brings us to the end, and I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Now that you know the share price is just one slice of the pie, and you truly understand the mechanics behind sizing up a company, how will you use market cap to frame your future investments? The next time you open up your stock app or you sit down in your high school business class to analyze a mock portfolio, I challenge you to look right past that flashing share price. Do the simple math, find the market cap, and discover the true scale of the business. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy investing.